Movie and Music Network, offering underground, pop, and esoteric cinema. Discover more at movieandmusicnetwork.com. Dr. Martin Luther King is a passionate man with a plan. In 1965, he made it his mission to secure voting rights for African Americans.
It is unacceptable that they use their power and keep us voiceless.
The result was an epic march that changed history in Selma.
Hi, I'm Kevin, and I'm here with Aaron and Brenna, and we're here today to discuss the new film, Selma. We've all just seen it. Brenna, what did you think about Selma?
I loved it.
Thank God.
You got the seal of approval. You're allowed to like it. It's a fantastic film. I didn't know what to expect. I knew it was about Martin Luther King Jr., but I wasn't sure if it was going to be his whole life, if it was a biopic, or if it was a little segment of his life, and it ended up being a segment. And I think one of the lesser-known segments, which was nice to see, because everybody knows about the buses, they know about the sit-ins, they know about the March on Washington. Mm-hmm. So this was nice to see this story. And what I loved so much about this is that it's not just simply black and white. It is a very complex story. We have a bit of a political thriller going on here. We have the story of individuals' lives, and we see how people get touched, and it covers all the bases, and it makes something that we've condensed into simple terms, it brings it back to the complexity.
Yeah, the first thing I was gonna say was that I enjoyed the fact that it focuses on a specific time period. It doesn't try to be a biopic, because oftentimes that's a problem with movies about famous people, is they just try and cover too much. Here, it was probably only like a month, maybe 2 months, and I thought that was what made it really solid. The characters were all very interesting. I don't know that I specifically connected with any one particular character, but I felt like everything that happened was emotionally affecting. The thing that maybe gets on my nerves a tiny bit is that maybe I'm reading too much into the film, but I felt like the real-life parallels are a little too on the nose. Small complaint.
I would say I'm kind of in between you two. I felt the Lincoln-esque aspect of it, where they just take one certain segment of his life, made me not connect with MLK Jr. at all. I didn't feel like I knew him at all, and I just felt he was an archetype. He was just like, I was interested when he was having discussions with Johnson. I was moved by the events that were happening. I was not moved by the people. I was kind of connected more with his wife.
That's kind of how I felt,
and that was
too.
Disappointing, because I wanted to know more about him.
Well, he's an archetypal character. I mean, he has characteristics that define him and that create an arc throughout the film. They're just not anything different than what you would expect Martin Luther King Jr.'s character.
I did feel like I'd seen this before in a weird way.
Yeah,
even though I hadn't seen this story before.
It's still good. It's just that's maybe an issue that I have with it too. But I love the dialogue and the speeches and everything. I think that's the part that makes me connect with him, is like his enthusiasm and how real all that stuff
Agreed.
is.
I do feel like they kept on repeating some of the same points over and over again. And there was a point where I'm like, yeah, you've already said this. Let's get on to something different.
Those that have gone before us say, no more, no more. That means protest. That means march. That means disturb the peace. That means jail. That means risk. And that is hard. We will not wait any longer. Give us the vote. That's right. No more. We're not asking, we're demanding. Give us the vote.
The performances of everyone are super solid. David Oyelowo is fantastic, as usual. I don't think I've ever seen him in a role where he's done a substandard job.
Yeah.
He looks just like him.
He does, yeah.
It's incredible.
He totally does.
And he channels him, because, I mean, it's very lucky for an actor to be able to have hours and hours and hours of footage to watch to figure out how you perform this character. And he channels MLK so well.
Mm-hmm. All the women I thought were fantastic.
Oprah was great.
Oprah was good.
And she took
took a step back.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to say backseat. But she really did. She didn't. And occasionally you just see her in the background. And I'm like, good for her not being like, I need to have the best role in the movie.
You work for Mr. Dunn down at the rest home, ain't that right?
Yes, sir.
Wonder what old Don will say when I tell him one of his gals down here stirring a fuss.
I ain't stirring no fuss. I'm just here trying to register to vote.
I just think that Ava DuVernay as a director had a lot to show us, and I really felt her mark on the film, which again is really remarkable because she doesn't direct very often, and she's been a publicist in the industry for years. But all these great panning shots and crane shots, I mean, it was just really nice to look at.
What I was most impressed with was how she handled conveying emotion. Conveying emotion with characters that we've met 2 seconds before, enough for us to care about when something happens to them. She follows through with characters whose names we don't even know and we still care about them. She handles the emotion so well. I was on the brink of tears 3 times in this movie. More than anything, this film is very relevant. It hits home with all the stuff that's been happening in the news lately, and I think it's a good thing to watch to remind us that you gotta work for it.
Selma is powerful and triumphant, a definite see it.
Well, I do think this is an important time in history, and I was really impressed with Ava DuVernay's direction. I thought it was a little slow, and I did want to learn a little bit more about MLK himself, so I'm just gonna say stream it.
Selma tells a story that has so often been reduced to simple black and white in a beautifully complex way. See it.
Alrighty, that's 2.5 tickets, which is a see it for Selma.
Cheers.
Quality.
We shall overcome.
To Common's beanies. He had a lot of beanies.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm a furry. It's not true. Do not use that as a blooper.